thanks so much for joining me this evening and talking about your build. You put together one heck of a build.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a process, but it was fun.
Yeah, and the maker pipe rack is only like the smallest little part. It looks like you've been working on this vehicle for some time.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I bought it when I was a sophomore in high school. So
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah.
That's and that wasn't yesterday, right?
No, I'm 26 now, so it's been a while.
Well, it came out really amazing. I mean, the rack and the bug in general. But yeah, tell me a little bit about the car.
So it's a 61 Volkswagen Beetle that was converted uh to a Baja. And I don't know, it's one of a kind. Um my favorite part about it is the rag top, which is kind of one of the reasons that I built this rack. It's kind of hard to find um, racks that also work with the rag top. Um, so I took it in my own hands to kind of create my own, and this is what it turned out to be.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't even notice the rag top at first. There it is. So it just peels back, and I don't even know if I've ever experienced anything like that with a rag
Yeah.
top.
So there's not much going on. Let's see if I can show you. There's not much going on here because I still wanted to be able to, see out the top. Right now, it can't be used for mounting things on it. Sometime in the future, I'd like to mount some like shovels or axes on the sides, and then possibly back here where it's not usable, add some more framing so I can actually mount stuff up there.
Nice. What was the challenge of the existing roof racks that didn't work with the rag top?
I mean, a lot of them, because companies that build those racks, most of the time they just don't build them for the rag tops. So they're a lot closer to the top of the car. So I wouldn't be able to open my rag top.
Oh, yeah, that makes
So,
sense.
so I was able to measure this and get it just right to where it can just slide right beneath those bars and clear it.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that's really cool. You have the spare tire carrier on the back as well, all supported with conduit and maker pipe.
Yep.
That's neat with the wide, and you're in Southern California or that around that area, is that right?
I'm in Wyoming.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
I heard Baja. I'm like, okay, you must be in the area. So do you hightail it down to Baja? Has it been to Baja yet?
I have not yet. That's always been one of my dreams. That's kind of where I'm headed with the car, getting it ready for something like that. I'd love to take it to the dunes, but right now it's pretty much a daily driver that likes it turns everyone's heads. So
Oh yeah. Yeah, it's gorgeous. That's a cool story that well, you'll have to get it in the sand one day. It
yes, definitely.
definitely looks the part, man. That is really cool. I like the markers on the fenders there. That's a custom touch, or is that something that comes on those? Those
Here in the back.
well, in the front, those amber ones. I guess in the back too. You got a lot of neat
Oh,
custom touches to it.
so those are factory, but the fenders themselves aren't. Those are fiberglass. The whole front end's fiberglass,
Oh wow.
but they're factory lights that were then mounted to those.
Excuse my ignorance on on bugs, bugs. But that's so cool. Yeah. What? How about around the rear? What's going on in the back? An engine, maybe?
Yep. So what's kind of special about this one, it's kind of an old fashioned way to make it a Baja. A lot of the kits nowadays, you just take off the fenders and put fiberglass ones, but this one's actually still metal and it's cut and rolled,
Nice.
which is an old way of doing things.
Hmm.
But yep, here's the little motor. I'm actually in the process of building another one right now. So now that I finished the rack, that's the next step.
What kind of motor comes in a Volkswagen Bug?
So this one is a 40 horse air cooled, so not very much power, and it sure sounds like a lawnmower too.
That's so neat. Is
Yeah.
I imagine the new one's going to be what's the new one going to be? Are you staying with that theme and just hopping it up, or what's the plan?
So the new one will still be Volkswagen. It'll still be air cooled, but the plan is it'll be a 1776, which this one is, I believe, around 1300 cc. So the new one's going to be 1776, which I think should produce about 90 horsepower,
Oh yeah.
which doesn't seem like much, but with these little cars, especially with this having a fiberglass front end and being a lot lighter, it should move it pretty good.
Well, I don't imagine people made these because it was boring to drive and not working in the desert. So I'm sure with decades, maybe even coming up on a century, not decades really. They've got a lot of history, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Do you remember when you saw your first one? Was your car the first one you knew about, or was this something you knew about beforehand?
So this is actually my third Baja, well, third bug even. I bought one when I was in middle school and it ended up being pretty much too far gone to try to fix up. But then when I was a freshman, my dad had one also, and he gave it to me to drive. And that one pretty much I drove it to the ground and sold that to buy this one. For a lot of my life, we've always had a bug, some sort of Volkswagen in the family. And just a couple weekends ago, I actually picked up another one for my dad the same year and everything that he had in high school. And I'm fixing that up for him.
Wow. That's really neat. I guess once you know the platform and you've obviously fallen in love to put this much work into something, you kind of keep going with it.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, after learning how to work on them, it's just kind of much easier to stick with this type of car because now that I know, I don't have to take it anywhere else for someone else to work on.
Yeah, I love the details too. You got the skateboard in the back. I saw the license plate previously. I love that. The rug or the blanket
Yep.
in that I love that. That's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, the skateboards mostly because, well, these cars aren't really known to be the most reliable. So that's for when I break down around town and I can at least get home.
Yeah, have you had to employ that emergency mode?
I have not yet. Fingers crossed.
Okay, knock on wood.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, well the car is amazing. The Let's talk about the roof rack. So you couldn't get exactly what you wanted for, so you kind of went to DIY it, I guess. Is that the story how this began?
Yeah, and I mean, I'm no welder or anything, and I'm actually a journeyman electrician. So
Oh
this
wow.
was something that I knew how to work with, and I debated on the whole welding thing, but everywhere that I looked, everyone was saying, "Don't weld it. It's really hard to weld. Plus, all the fumes and everything is dangerous." And then I stumbled upon the maker pipe stuff, and instantly I just started drawing and making a design, and pretty much came up with this.
I love talking with electricians because you guys use this material all the time, right? In your trade.
Yep,
And
exactly.
but it's like such a different life now that you built something with, or actually I should say, did you build things with Conduit before this, or was this your first Conduit build?
This was my first build,
Oh, awesome.
but now that I've done it, I have a few other projects in mind. I have another buddy that works on the bugs with me, and he wants me to build him a rack next of a different style. So that'll be the next project.
Yeah, I trip out on that because I've been approached by electricians at like, a fair or something like that. And they're like, I've been building stuff with EMT conduit for decades, man, and I always needed something like this. So it's always cool to hear that electricians like it as well.
Yeah, no, it's definitely fun. I mean, anytime I get to make something, I just enjoy it. So
Yeah, for sure. So what were some of the big challenges with the build? I mean, it looks so seamless the way you did it. I'm really impressed by how it looks. But what were some of the big challenges?
So figuring out how to actually anchor it was the hardest part. Originally, I wasn't going to have the tire rack. I was going to mount it up on top, but then just decided to keep going. So these mounts back here, there's another style of rack that's made for regular bugs that kind of runs down the back and then mounts to the bumper that should be there. And I found the mounting hardware kit and just used these top pieces.
Nice.
And was able to kind of, pinch the pipe a little bit and put a bolt through it. And then The more challenging part was how to mount it to the gutter itself. And I, again, with the same company, which is Impy, found the mounts for their regular racks that wouldn't work for my bug and was able to use those, but in the back had to cut them down a little bit because with these ones, they're made to kind of wrap around the gutter, whereas back here you can't do that. So I had to cut them. But the main problem was how to mount those to the pipe, and I couldn't weld any kind of like eye bolt or anything to it. So I found these little brake line brackets on eBay and was able to use the shrink wrap to put underneath it. I think I put 2 and then shrunk it, and it was able to hold it tight enough to cinch it down and hold the rack on.
Yeah, that's really clever. And so I assume the part that you got from the actual roof rack hardware company was those hooks and then the threaded bolt coming out. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And then did you just pinch the pipe and it sits in the drip channel?
Yep. So I pinched it and then put some of this, it's right here also, this trim piece on there so it wouldn't, rub in, take off all the paint.
Yeah.
And I also dipped it in some like rubberized coating just for a little extra protection.
Wow. Those are great details. That's a really, it looks like an elegant way to solve it. That looks awesome.
Yeah. And I think the best part in my eyes is if I ever wanted to take this off, all I have to do is unscrew, 4 of those and then take out 2 bolts in the back and the whole thing will pop off. I made a disconnect for the light under the hood. And then with this trim piece again, that just pulls right off of that gutter. So the whole thing could probably be taken off in less than 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's real versatile. And then how did you mount the light bar? Was that easy to do?
So the light bar I just used, if you just Google a light bar mount, it's just the standard, I think.
Yeah, and it just fit on Conduit. Okay.
Yeah, I did have to use some more of those shrink wraps just that go right under it.
Right. Those are handy for like fine tuning the dimension and getting it just right.
Right. To make sure that everything sucks down just enough to be tight.
Is the whole thing shrink wrapped or did you paint the Conduit?
It's all painted.
Looks good.
Yeah.
Nice paint job.
I think that was the longest process of the whole thing. Was really making sure I did a good job on that because that's going to be getting hit with rocks and bugs, and I'm sure I'm going to have to touch it up a bit eventually. But
yeah,
sure. I did a good job on that.
Right. What was your method for doing the painting? How did you prep it?
I sanded it and then did a primer and then the finish gloss black, I believe. I think I used Rust-Oleum for all that. I had watched some of your guys' videos on which paint is best and kind of went off of that.
Oh, well, that's awesome to hear. Yeah, that's good. I hope it was good advice. We were really curious about that and couldn't find the info. So we were just like, hey, let's test it. And it was kind of surprising results. But man, that looks good. So has it had a shakedown test yet? Have you gotten it out?
Oh, I've driven it all over town on bumpy roads and stuff, and it hasn't seemed to loosen up or anything. The only thing I think I need to kind of figure out is how to get the wind noise down. But that's kind of normal with any rack anyway.
Right.
If I could figure out some way to get that wind noise down, that'd make me a lot happier.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear because, our connectors, to be honest with you, never were intended for roof racks. Heck, almost all of the stuff people build, they were never intended for, right? Like we didn't have any intention when making them other than being helpful. And to hear that it can do well as a roof rack at, road speeds is really great. And it's surprising to me even that they don't come apart or they don't loosen as much. I still recommend people check them and make sure, but like they seem to hold pretty tight even with a lot of vibration.
Yeah, definitely. And if I ever notice it loosen up or anything, I do have bolts ready to just start, self-tapping through each connection just in case. Because with these, the 3/4 connectors, I think it's with the 1-inch pros that you guys have those screws that go through, but with the 3/4 they don't, but I have them ready just in case.
Yeah. Wow. Jacob, you've done your research. I'm impressed.
Yeah, I quickly became a big fan of this company, so I've seen a lot of your guys' stuff all over.
Well, thank you so much for the interest and showing off your awesome build. I think it's fantastic. You did a great job, and it makes me so happy that you took the time tonight to share it and show it off.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope you get down to Baja. I hope this thing takes you all over the place, and you get to put it in its intended environment.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that's the whole plan. So hopefully I'll get there one day.
Okay, well, and don't be afraid to shoot us a picture if that rack makes it, far away, or even, give us an update, on how it goes. We'd love to hear from you again.
Oh, definitely. The more I add on to it, you guys will be getting updates.
Okay. Awesome, Jacob. Thanks so much for your time. Have a great night.
All right. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.